Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. How is your Saturday? I hope it's I hope it's going well. Mine is a little bit slow but sure, isn't it? Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please check out OneXpert because the good people at OneXpert have decided to sponsor us for these videos. They are really marvelous. So please do check out OneXpert. Use promo code Cossy Media when you reach their website. They'll be able to give you a 200% bonus courtesy of my promo code. But in this video, I want us to discuss our midfield issues, because when I looked at this picture, and probably when I put it on your screen, what comes to mind is a strong midfield, a strong midfield trio of three midfielders that can complement each other, that can make Arsenal one of the greatest midfields in the Premier League. Yes, I do understand that, and we are gonna go. We're gonna try to dive into what was our problem last season in that midfield, and how can we fix and correct Arsenal. How could Arsenal line up with these three? Because I think, if you look at their statistics, if you look at how they play, if you look at what they provide, they could give us the perfect Arsenal midfield. Now, in this one, I'm not going to really look at how Arsenal could buy them, how much they could cost, you know, where the deals are, who is a priority and who's not a priority. But what I'm going to look at is what do we get from each player? How do we benefit from each player's individual brilliance? And lastly, how would we get a collective effort from all of them combined as a midfield trio? The good people at now.arsenal have done that graphic, so please make sure you follow them on Twitter. I don't think they do not have a YouTube channel, but follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, and you'll be able to keep up with nice Arsenal graphics. They should be able to make me nice Arsenal graphics as well. So what we are going to dive into in this one is, first and foremost, we need to look at what was our problem in that midfield last season. What should be fixed first, what should be fixed last, and how can we get back to the real normal in terms of midfield. So for me, in my case, the past 5 years, I think our midfield has come, you know, shrinking in quality. From the likes of Santi Cazorla, the likes of the Messi Ozil, the likes of Aaron Ramsey, when that generation of players, when that regime of players eventually leaves the club, we find ourselves in a very, very tight situation. We find ourselves in a conundrum, and eventually Arsenal cannot create chances. Arsenal cannot have a good press, and you know, worst coming to the worst, we couldn't have that kind of shield to our defense. Now, if you look at this, lineup, this is how we've been setting up last season. Hector Bellerin, David Louis, Gabriel, and Tierney in defense, with Leno in goal. Xhaka, Partey, and let's say Emile Smith-Rowe in this case, right? Let's say in Emile Smith-Rowe. Of course, we have been lining up with the number 10 in a 4-2-3-1. It's either Emile Smith-Rowe around here or Martin Odegaard. So whoever you pick. Pepe, Saka, and Aubameyang. Occasionally you've had Willian around here. Occasionally you've had Saka or Willian again. You know, on both flanks. Aubameyang has been around here with you know, with the help of Alexander Lacazette, who I think has had a tremendous season and could have been rewarded with a new contract if Arsenal had decided. But all the problems in this Arsenal side, we've blamed the defenses, we've blamed the strikers, we've blamed all the departments. But I think all the problems in this Arsenal side last season have been originating from this area, and that is the midfield. Just imagine, at some point in time, you had Messi Ozil in this around here. You had Granit Xhaka around here, because I think he's been consistent for the past 5 years. And here you had you had a player like Aaron Ramsey, or let's say you had Santi Cazorla around here. You have Granit Xhaka here, or if it's not Xhaka, then you probably say Cazorla and Wilshere, you know, in the midfield pivot, and then you have you know, Messi Ozil. So the quality of Ozil, Ramsey, and Cazorla is so different from the quality of Xhaka, Partey, and Emile Smith-Rowe. Very, very different. And I think the previous midfield of the Mesut Ozils is a little bit more of quality. Now, if you look at that picture, you have Manuel Locatelli there, there. You have Maddison in there, and you also have Thomas Partey, who just signed last summer in that midfield. Now, what that midfield for me gives you is the perfect midfield partnership, the perfect midfield trio that can complement each other, that can bring individual brilliance in times where you need an individual to shine. And that is why I think maybe Arsenal should get something close to that. We might not be able to purchase Maddison because of his prices. We might not be able to purchase Manuel Locatelli because of Juventus and Sassuolo and all the gambling they're doing. The nonsense. But in the end, I think what Arsenal need to do is try to fit in a player like Locatelli around where Granit Xhaka is going to leave space, and also try to fit in a player like James Maddison where Emile Smith-Rowe is going to play. So we're going to look at player per player, look at their strength, look at their weaknesses, and I'm going to try to sell to you the idea that Partey, Locatelli, and Maddison could be the perfect midfield trio at Arsenal. If you want to buy it, please do smash the like button. If you do not buy it, what is your midfield three in the market? Because for me, I think apart from Partey, we need to buy in a new number 10, and we also need to buy in a new number 8, who you'd call a creative, not a creative midfielder, but a central midfielder. So let us get into it. So we start with off with Thomas Partey. Partey in this one, if you have and let us just place all of them here. So Granit Xhaka is replaced by Locatelli, right? So Locatelli replaces Granit Xhaka, and then Emile Smith-Rowe is replaced by James Maddison, right? It should have been Grealish, shouldn't, but Grealish is so expensive. So you have Maddison, Locatelli, and Thomas Partey in that midfield. 3 players giving you 3 different things, but very, very important that when you combine them in a whole, you're gonna get the best of the sum. So and I think if Arsenal get a midfield 2 in this summer, it's gonna be so different from how we were lining up last season. So let us get in with Thomas Partey. Partey, what is his strength and what do we get from him? So I think with Thomas Partey, because he's right-footed, his hit map is gonna be more like sorry for that. Right, so let's go for this. So his hit map is gonna be something like this. That is where he's gonna dominate. He's basically right-footed, and you're gonna see him dominating the right wing, the right-hand side of the pitch, and trying to create more, of chances or tackles or things like that, on the right-hand side of the midfield. Thomas Partey, if you look at some of his statistics, in his last 144 appearances, they're ecstatic. Really ecstatic. But if you look at his appearances, the last 40 appearances he's made in his career, 2 appearances for Atletico Madrid, you have 6 appearances in the Europa League for Arsenal, and then you have 18 appearances in the Premier League for Arsenal as well, and then 1 international friendly with Ghana. He has had 40 appearances, all together. And if you look at his strength in those 40 appearances, it is dribbling, which is very strong. It is area duels, which is very strong. It is ball interception, which is very strong, and it is tackling, which is also very strong. These statistics are provided by the good people at whoscored.com. So what that shows you in Thomas Partey and that midfield, he has the tackling, he has the ball interception, and he has the area duels. Now, if we talk about Partey in that area, sorry about that. We should go back to the tactical board. So if you look at Partey in that regard, in this midfield, what he gives you is he is the man that's gonna be tackling, right? He's the man that's gonna be intercepting the possession, and he's the man that's gonna be winning the aerial duels. Maddison, you don't expect, if you look at the stats of Maddison, aerial duels, he stands at 15%. Locatelli, aerial duels, he's not good as well. In terms of tackling, I think Locatelli is good, but basically his strengths are far away from what you would call tackling and ball interception. So Thomas Partey, I mean, I don't want to say this, but I'll say it. Thomas Partey, in this regard, he is the man that provides that shield to the back four in this midfield. So you expect a lot of Thomas Partey, his average positions around this area. So you expect a lot of Thomas Partey to be rotating around this area. Of course, he goes up front a little bit because it's more of a box to box, and he loves to do that. But basically, his best basic role in this midfield would be tackling and getting winning the ball back. Now with Manuel Locatelli, and of course you have Thomas Partey around here. So with Manuel Locatelli, if you look at his statistics, and I've got this from the Transfer Market website, so make sure you check out the Transfer Market, on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you look at Locatelli and his strength and his statistics, they're amazing, really amazing, but not in terms of how he defends the ball. Right, he's collected 37 yellow cards in his past 144 Serie A performances. That shows you that he's good as he's good as a defensive midfielder, because that is his position. So 37 yellow cards, yeah, it's not so much of of good discipline, but what you have there is a player that is not going to be simply anonymous when you do not have the ball. So that shows you that Manuel Locatelli as well, when the team doesn't have the ball, right, he's gonna do it for you. Yeah, he's gonna be there for you, and that is the beauty with having a player. Right, sorry for that. So we've got to go back to the tactical board. Yeah. So if you look at Locatelli and Partey, 37 yellow cards collected in the past 144 games. Then Thomas Partey, the strongest in his strongest areas is tackling and ball dispossession, and then you have aerial duels. Locatelli tackling as well. So you have two players that are gonna help you provide a shield. So we could do something like this, right? So do this, something like this. Yeah, that makes sense. So you have two players that are gonna provide a shield to your back four, right? And that is what you want to see. That is what you want. You want a midfield pivot that can actually act as a stumbling block to this ball. Whenever it is on the Locatelli side, it's gonna block it. Partey is gonna block it here, and when you get past them, they have they're gonna just fall back and probably make a defensive five. So you're gonna meet this this wall here. So that is the beauty with having a player like Partey and Manuel Locatelli. None of them is so defensive, right? None of them is so defensive. I think Partey is a little bit elevated when it comes to defending, and Manuel Locatelli is a little bit elevated when it comes to creating chances. So something like this, right? So with Manuel Locatelli, in the past 144 Serie A appearances he has made, one of the things you're gonna look at is his statistics. And this is where it gets interesting. So just a minute. This guy has scored 8 goals and created 11 assists in that period, in his period, in the Italian Serie A. Now remember, he is more of a granny jacker. He's more of a central midfielder, and you would think, honestly, his role is basically to create these passes for Nicola Pepe and the likes of Chiellini to run, distribute this ball, just make the midfield busy, because that is what Granit Xhaka does. And we've seen a couple of midfielders that are so boring, like Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos. All they do is basic passing, right? All they do is basic passing. And if you look at how Manchester City play with Kevin De Bruyne, or if you've seen him at Belgium, if you've seen Marco Verratti at PSG, or if you've seen Andres Iniesta, there is that hybrid of midfielders that they take it in their hands that it's not just the passing, it is also about the entertainment. It's also about the chances created. It is also about the defending. What I mean is, De Bruyne is gonna give you a lot more than Granit Xhaka, right? Marco Verratti is gonna give you more a lot than Granit Xhaka. Both of them are playing in the same area, but the beauty you want with you get in Manuel Locatelli playing in this area is he's gonna distribute this ball to Partey, to Maddison, to Pepe, to Aubameyang, to Saka, and of course he's gonna receive the ball, and that's one of the good things for him. You're gonna play, he allows you to play from the back. He's gonna receive this ball from all the defenders around him, and he's gonna distribute the ball around the midfield. That is the beauty with Manuel Locatelli. But the beauty with him, for me, the most significant good thing I have with him is his ability to create chances. That means when Thomas Partey is around this area, Manuel Locatelli shifts a little bit up front into this area, right? So let's just get a shape, something like this. So into this area where he can create chances. And that is something that we've been lacking. The last player that did that at Arsenal was Santi Cazorla. Because for Santi Cazorla, much of his time, he wasn't really concerned with defending. Much of his time was was concerned with spreading play, in these areas around here, and also making sure that there is enough supply in these areas. And of course, he created a lot of chances, for Arsenal, for the likes of Lucas Podolski and Olivier Giroud. So Partey in this area, Manuel Locatelli in this area. I think they're perfect fit. Locatelli going forward, creating the chances, scoring the goals, and then Thomas Partey, the tackling, the ball interception, and the area duels. Now, if you look at James Maddison, his statistics in terms of creating chances are a little bit scary in the past 3 seasons. A little bit scary. And I'm going to say it, yeah, they are scary. Past 3 seasons, they're scary. But the beauty now with Maddison is if he creates for you 10 chances, and 10 assists per season, Locatelli gives you around 5 assists per season, right? The beauty with Maddison is his ability to get more involved in goal scoring, in goal scoring opportunities, especially by finishing them off. If we could just look at some of the statistics, around Maddison, in his past 3 Premier League seasons, in 2018-2019, he has 7 assists and 7 goals. That is a total of 14 goals directly involved in. In 2019-2020, he has 6 assists, 6 goals, and 3 assists. That is a total of 9 goals directly involved in. And then last season, where he played 31 games, he has 8 goals and 5 assists, a total of 13 goals involved in. So the beauty with Maddison is, and this is these statistics are provided by Google. So the beauty with Maddison is, in the past 3 seasons, he's created 15 assists in 3 seasons. That is alarming for a creative attacking midfielder. But just look at the amount of goals he scored. He scored because this is 13. Yeah, right? This is 13, 21. So he scored 21 goals and 15 assists in his past 3 seasons at Leicester City. No midfielder, right? No midfielder has done that at Arsenal. And that is what you want in James Maddison. You want a goal-scoring midfielder. You want a midfielder who's gonna provide you with at least 7 goals. 7 goals from a midfielder. That is fine. In a season, so you have 7 goals from Maddison. You have 15 goals from Aubameyang. You have 8 goals from Pepe, and you have 5 goals from Saka. That is enough to keep you in the top 4. top 5. The problem we've had last season has been the press. The press. That has been the problem. And how do you fix the press for me? Is you get a midfielder, you get a central midfielder whose ability, who has the ability to carry the ball forward. That is, position 1. Then you get a midfielder who has the ability to score goals. That is Maddison. If you look at how Brendan Rodgers has been setting them up at Leicester City, it's been so brilliant because around here where you have Pepe, they've had Harvey Barnes, then they've had Jamie Vardy around here, right? Probably on the right hand side of the pitch, they have either had Marco Brighton, whoever has been playing there. It's fine with my soul. Then they had Maddison just behind Jamie Vardy, but Maddison is more of a goal scorer. So it's like Maddison has been like a support striker in this area where you want Locatelli. They have had Tielemans and they have had Needy, who would be your Thomas Partey. So for me, this is how we would line up with James Maddison, Partey and Locatelli, and that is how we would benefit. We would score more goals. It's a midfield that would allow us to score more goals, very many goals, per 90. And of course, by the end of the season. But it's also midfield that would allow us manage and control games. This is a midfield with a lot of quality. Maddison, if you look at Maddison and his ability to keep the ball, brilliant. Partey and his ability to pass and keep the ball, brilliant. And Locatelli and his ability to keep the ball and pass it around, brilliant. So with Granit Xhaka, my problem here with Xhaka is his passing is so basic. He's not sharp. My problem with Thomas Partey is he has not found a partner who can actually bring out his best in him. And then my problem with all the people that have been playing in this number 10 role is they do not have the ability to score goals. So that is how we could fix our midfield. Alternatively, if you do not have Locatelli, you could bring in a player like Renato Sanchez. You could bring in a player like look, Camavinga is a little bit difficult, right? But you could bring in a player like Camavinga. He would give you the same thing. If you don't get them, then you could get Nabil Fekir. But my problem with Nabil Fekir, if you play him in this area, right? If you play him in this area, he is a defensive liability. That is my problem. It's gonna concentrate on the offensive side of his game. It's gonna leave all this all this area very open, and you're gonna be very exposed. So guys, if you do like my idea of how Arsenal could line up in the midfield next season, give me a like on the video. If you do not like my idea, in the comment section, tell me why. Really, please tell me why, and I'll speak to you very soon.